fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The jasmine, it wasn't a natural bloom for these woods, not this deep within the Shadowfell. It clung to the air, thick and cloying, a deceptive sweetness that masked the rot beneath the ancient trees. It led me to her, Arya, a mortal, and a foolish one at that, to wander so carelessly into my domain after the sun had fully surrendered to the night. I'd been tracking a rogue grimoire, a minor annoyance attempting to siphon power from the ley lines when the scent hit me. Jasmine, it wasn't the grimoire, it was her, a distraction undoubtedly. Mortals were always distractions, fragile fleeting things, easily broken, yet I found myself drawn in, compelled by a curiosity I hadn't felt in centuries. She stood in a small clearing, bathed in the ethereal glow of the moon. Moonlight fractured by the canopy, painted silver streaks across her hair, a cascade of it tumbling down her back. She turned and my breath hitched, not from fear, gods no, from something else. Her eyes, wide, the color of storm clouds gathering over a turbulent sea. They reflected the moonlight, yes, but also me, the predator I'd become. The centuries of power, the darkness I wielded, all mirrored in those vulnerable depths. Kale, she breathed. The sound was barely a whisper, carried on the cool night air. My name on her lips, it tasted like damnation, like a promise of chaos and ruin, a dangerous temptation. I hadn't heard my name spoken aloud in, well, it didn't matter how long, it shouldn't have affected me. I am Kale, Lord of the Shadowfell, and mortal voices hold no sway over me. But it did. It resonated, a discordant note in the carefully constructed symphony of my control. Every shadow in the forest seemed to bend toward her, drawn not just to the heat of her fear, though there was plenty of that radiating from her in trembling waves, but to something deeper. A darker heat beneath, a spark of defiance, a resilience that shouldn't exist in something so mortal. She was a flame in the darkness, and the darkness always wants to consume the flame. She thought herself a huntress. I could smell it on her, the faint tang of iron and pine, the residue of spells woven for tracking and protection. A pathetic attempt, really. She carried a bow, crafted from some pale wood, and a quiver of arrows fletched with raven feathers. Child's play. I'd seen empires rise and fall on weapons far more potent than that. I allowed a slow smile to curve my lips, a predatory gesture that didn't quite reach my eyes. Arya, I echoed, my voice a low rumble that seemed to vibrate through the very ground beneath her feet. Lost little huntress. Her chin lifted, a flicker of courage igniting in those stormy eyes. I know exactly where I am, she said, her voice surprisingly steady, though I could detect the tremor beneath the surface. And I know who Asterisk you are. Do you? I took a step closer, relishing the way she instinctively flinched, the subtle tightening of her grip on her bow. Most mortals only know the stories, the whispers in the dark, they don't know the truth. The truth is you're a monster, she declared, her voice gaining strength with each word, a creature of shadow and fear. I laughed, a cold, humorless sound, and you are remarkably brave or remarkably foolish, perhaps both. I circled her slowly, assessing her, cataloging her weaknesses, the delicate curve of her neck, the rapid pulse point at her temple, the way her breath hitched with each step I took. You came seeking something, didn't you? A lost artifact, a forgotten power, something you shouldn't have. She didn't answer, her gaze locked on mine, a silent challenge. I could feel the magic thrumming beneath her skin, a raw, untamed energy that was both intriguing and irritating. She wasn't entirely defenseless, it seemed, but her power was nothing compared to mine. A flickering candle against a raging inferno. I'll ask again, I said, my voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. What are you doing in my domain? I'm looking for my brother, she finally replied, her voice tight with desperation. He came here weeks ago, he hasn't returned. A brother, of course, a weakness, a vulnerability. Mortals always had them, and you thought you could simply waltz in here and find him, that you could challenge the Lord of the Shadowfell. I had to try, she said, her eyes pleading. He's all I have left. I stopped circling, standing directly before her now, my shadow engulfing her entirely. I could feel the warmth of her body, the frantic beat of her heart. It was distracting. I'll show you what it means to be prey, I murmured, reaching out a hand to trace the delicate line of her jaw. I'll show you the true meaning of fear. Her eyes widened, and for a fleeting moment I saw something other than fear reflected in their depths. Something akin to fascination, a dangerous spark, and I knew with a chilling certainty that this hunt wouldn't be as simple as I'd anticipated. This wasn't just about a foolish mortal trespassing in my domain. This was about something far more complicated, something that threatened to unravel the carefully constructed order of my existence. And Ikael, Lord of the Shadowfell, was suddenly, inexplicably intrigued.